Hello students, welcome to Sreenath. In this video, we are going to discuss the 6th chapter, which is physical and chemical changes from 7th class CBSE science subject students. So our present chapter name is physical and chemical change. Okay students, physical and chemical change. So this is our 6th chapter students. So my name is Karthik Nune. We are creating videos on all chapters and all subjects from class 6 to class 12. So please do subscribe our channel. Also like and share our videos students. So without wasting time, we are going to start this session. So in this present session, we are going to complete this chapter, which is physical and chemical changes students. So before we are going to start this chapter, let's we see what are the concepts in it we are going to learn. Okay students, so everyday students, in our daily life we will see many changes. Okay students, suppose if you add sugar to water, then you will stir it, then it is a sugar solution, so it is a change. And making curd from milk, it is a change. So stretched rubber represents a change. So all those represents changes. So first thing, the topic is physical changes. So what are the physical changes? And next thing is chemical changes. What are the chemical changes? We are going to learn about it and some examples regarding the chemical change. And next thing is that students, that is about rusting of iron. You know iron, and you know when you leave the iron in the atmosphere, in the outside in the surroundings, it will get rust on it. So is the rusting of iron chemical change or physical change? How to know it? So next thing is that students, crystallization. So how crystallization will be done? What is meant by crystallization? How to get a pure crystals? So this is our whole chapter students, we are going to learn now students. So how many of you are interested to learn this chapter students? Just give a like, and without wasting time, we are going to start this chapter students. So first thing is physical and chemical changes students. So every day we will see many changes around us. So what are the physical changes? So there are some examples we are going to take students. So at the first, take a piece of paper and cut it into 4 pieces and try to arrange them like that. So if you take a piece of paper and you have cutted this into 4 pieces, so you will get 4 pieces like that. This is 1, this is the 2, and this is the 3, and this is the 4. You have cutted them like this. So now take those 4 square papers and try to make them as a 1. Could you come back the original piece? No. So you can do this to this very easily, but you can't add these things and you can't get the original like this. Okay students, just remember it. Next, take a chalk and crush it so that it will gives you powder. And with the water, adding the water, make that chalk into a paste. Okay students, now take that paste and try to make that paste into a chalk. Could you do it? Next activity. So take some ice and place it outside, and some part of it will melt, some part of it won't melt. So there is some ice plus water. Okay students, so now take ice plus water and add some salt, common salt to it. Just see what happens. After some times it will form solid ice. It is one of the change. Next example is, take water and boil it on a beaker. So after some times what happens? You will observe the water vapor, the gases or the vapors coming out of the beaker. Now this collect this water vapor. Okay students, so cool it so that you will get water. How to do this task? Suppose if it is the beaker and it is the water and it is coming as gases, so at this place take a plate and hold it, so these gases will strike this plate and you will get some water drops here, like that. Okay students, so next thing is hold a hacksaw blade and heat it on fire, heat it. So what you observe? Color changes. If you cool it, original color will comes. So students, we have seen the 5 examples. So first thing is that we have cutted the paper into 4 pieces, students, but we can't get the original paper after adding all the square pieces, students. Next thing is that, students, we have taken the chalk and we have made it into a paste powder, but we didn't get the chalk. So it is not the reversible process. We are not getting the original pieces here, original shapes here also. But here we have made the ice into water, but at the same time we are converting the water into ice, so it is reversible here. Here we have boiled the water and makes into water vapor, and at the same time water vapor can be converted into water. And next thing is that hacksaw blade. So while heating it, its color changes. When cooling it original comes. So we observe there is here there is a change in color, here there is a change in state, here there is a change in shape or size, whatever it called. Here also there is change in shape, not shape but in size. Here there is change in shape. So students, it is not reversible, but it is reversible, we can get the originals after the change. So finally, what is our conclusion in the, students? There are properties such as shape, size, color and state of a substance. Properties like shape, size, color and state. So all these properties we call as the physical properties. Okay students, so properties like shape, size, color and state are called as physical properties, students. So if there is a change in which a substance undergo a change in its physical property, suppose if this physical properties changes, suppose we call it as a physical change. Suppose if shape changes, we say the physical properties, there is a physical change. If size changes, physical change. Color changes, physical change. State changes, physical change. So whenever the properties of these substances, of these physical substances changes, we say that as a physical change, friends. A physical change is generally reversible. In such a change, no new substance is formed. So what are the things you have to remember is that, students, in a physical change, it is reversible. Physical properties will change. New substance will be formed. So this is all information is about physical change, students. Okay, so that is the thing. So next thing is that chemical change. If the physical properties changes, we say that is the physical change. What about the chemical change? So just already we have discussed that rusting of iron. I have told you in the introduction. So take iron piece and left it outside. So if you see, this is the iron piece, but there is a lot of rust on it. So this is called as rusting. Okay students, so that rusting of iron is called, it is a chemical change. We will see the iron gates will get rust. Okay students, so rusting of iron is a chemical change. So students, whenever the iron is placed on outside, it will get rust. That rusting process is called as physical change, students. Okay. So in the kitchen also we will see that wet iron pan tawa often gets rusted if it is left in that state. So the tawa will also rust, students, if you leave them. So there are some examples by that you can easily understood. So take a magnesium ribbon or thin strip or ribbon of magnesium, students. Okay, and clean its tip with sandpaper and burn it on a candle. So it burns with brilliant white. When it completely burns, it will leave powdered ash, students. So look at the ash, what you will get. So what is the process here that is done? The process is that magnesium, that is Mg, we have added that magnesium with oxygen. So basically there is a strip of magnesium, students, and oxygen is in the surroundings area, so that oxygen is O2. So both these mixed and forms magnesium oxide. What it is? Magnesium oxide. We call that it as MgO. So magnesium plus oxygen gives rise to magnesium oxide, students. Okay, so here we call these as the equation, students. These are different from the mathematical quadratic equation, students. Okay, linear equation, students. So here there is a arrow which says that these two compounds clubbed, combined, and forms a new compound, like that. So this is the thing, students. Now collect the ash and mix it with small amount of water. Stir the mixture. So you will get some aqueous solution, and test that aqueous solution with litmus papers. So previous classes we have discussed that how we can say whether a solution is acidic solution or basic solution. Okay, students, on dissolving the ash in water, it forms a new substance. This change can be in the form of following equation, students. So we have dissolved the ash in water. So finally you are getting some new thing. So what it is? So here that magnesium oxide MgO, it is the ash. We have mixed it up with water, that is H2O. So finally we get magnesium hydroxide, that is MgOH twice. Okay, students, it is magnesium hydroxide. So here the magnesium oxide is a new substance. Okay, students, and magnesium hydroxide is also new substance. So finally what we can conclude is that, students, so in this burning of the magnesium, we are getting two different new substances, and we can't get back the original magnesium. The next thing is, take a teaspoonful of copper solution, students, copper sulfate, in a amount of a cup of water. So take a beaker, students, and take half cup of water, and take a tablespoon of copper sulfate powder or solution, whatever it may be. So students, so after add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid. First we have made the copper sulfate crystals and dilute sulfuric acid, students. So finally you will get the blue color. Okay, students, so take some of the blue solution into another beaker and place the blade or any iron like that in those solution. So the color changes to green. So here the color changes from blue to green. So there is a change in the color, students. So basically what is happening here, students? The changes that you notice are due to reaction between copper sulfate and iron. So here there is changes we are observing, the change in color. It is due to the reaction of copper sulfate and iron. It is due to copper sulfate, CuSO4, its chemical formula, students, and iron, that is Fe. So you don't know all these names, so that's why just I am writing normal names, that is copper sulfate and iron. Okay, students, that is the thing. So it is why it is changing its color from blue to green. So it is because of the formation of iron sulfate. So these two will gives iron sulfate. So that's why it is another new substance. So we will again get a new substance, students. This is the equation. So next, another activity. Take a teaspoonful of vinegar in a test tube, okay students, and add pinch of baking soda to it. So first take pinch of vinegar and add baking soda to it. So what happens? So you will see that gas bubbles and gas coming out of it. So just send the gas into another test tube which is having a lime water. So that lime water will turns into milky white. So here basically what we have added is acetic acid, which means vinegar, and baking soda, which is nothing but sodium hydrogen carbonate. So by adding both these things, you will get carbon dioxide plus other substance. This carbon dioxide is coming out of the test tube with like a bubble, students. Okay. So this is the thing, carbon dioxide plus lime water. So again that carbon dioxide comes and it will enters into the lime water. So carbon dioxide plus lime water gives rise the calcium carbonate plus water. So there will be water solution and the calcium carbonate solution, CaCO3, like that. So whenever the calcium carbonate is passed through the lime water, what happened? Calcium carbonate is formed. So it is another new substance, students. Okay, that is the thing. So in all these situations, students, if you observe, new substance is formed, new substance formed in all these cases. Okay students, and so a substance in which one or more new substances are formed is called as a chemical change. So when you say there is a chemical change, if one or two new substances formed in a chemical reaction, so we say that is a chemical change, students. A chemical change is also called as chemical reaction. Suppose if in a reaction a new substance is formed, we say there is a chemical change, students. Okay, so there are so many chemical reactions, chemical changes in our daily life, students. So digestion of food and ripening of fruits, fermentation of grapes, all these are due to series of chemical changes, students. And medicine is prepared, it is the end product of chain of chemical reactions, students. And new materials like plastics and detergents are produced by chemical reactions. So there are so many chemical reactions which are interconnected with us. So there are the result of many chemical reactions. We are using many useful devices, useful things, all those stuff, students. So in addition to the new substances, in every time in a chemical reaction there may be heat or light or any other radiation like ultraviolet radiation. It may be absorbed or released. So in chemical reactions, some heat will be released or some heat will be absorbed, some light will be released or some light will be absorbed, and sometimes sound may be produced, and sometimes change in smell may takes place, and sometimes color may change, and sometimes gas may be formed. So these are the changes common in chemical changes, students. Okay, so and the burning of magnesium ribbon it is also a chemical change, students. So while the explosion of fireworks, it is a chemical change, you will get lots of light, heat and sound in the case of fireworks, students. So when foods get spoiled, what happens? It will get foul smell, bad smell, and sometimes color also changes. Suppose if you have noticed an apple acquires a brown color if it is not consumed immediately. So all these comes under the chemical changes, color changes, smell changes. So new substances will form, some heat may released, some sound may released, like that. So the next topic is rusting of iron, students. Rusting of iron is chemical change, students. Rusting of iron, it is a chemical change. So whenever you left the iron in the surroundings, in the outside, it will mix up with the water and mix up with the air, then you will get the rust. You will get the rust, students. Okay, for rusting, the presence of both oxygen and water are necessary. So if you want get rusting, oxygen and water, both, we will need both things. So iron plus oxygen plus water gives rise the rust, iron oxide. Rust is nothing but iron oxide, students. So suppose if the content of moisture is high or if the humidity is high, so the rusting becomes more faster, students. If the humidity is high, the moisture is in the high, so that air and water are available. Okay, students. So in order to prevent the rusting, we will coat iron with paints. We will coat iron with paints, so that we can get rid of the rust, students. But just painting with any colors on iron is not sufficient, students. Suppose if you take ships are like that, they will always there in the water, so they will affected by so many salts and sea water, so they will get rust very easily. So that's why there is the process called galvanization. This process of depositing layer, galvanization. What is meant by galvanization, students? So depositing a layer of zinc on iron. Depositing a layer of zinc on iron is called galvanization. Depositing a layer of zinc on iron is called galvanization. Okay, in addition to it, in order to it, we'll deposit a layer of zinc. That is the galvanization process, students. So this helps. So stainless steel, we will listen this word way more frequently, is made by mixing iron with carbon or with some other metals like chromium, nickel, like that, students. So next topic is that, students, crystallization. What it is? Crystallization. So in the class 6, students, so we have learnt that salt is obtained by evaporation of water, students. So but the salt obtained in that process is not pure and not having the shape of crystal, students. So if you want to get pure crystals, how we can do it? So large crystals of pure substance can be formed from their solutions. The process is called crystallization. So if you get the large crystals, large crystals of pure substances, we call this as the crystallization. Okay, students. So we will do some experiment. So take a cup full of water in a beaker. So take some water in a beaker and add few drops of dilute sulfuric acid and heat the water. So when it starts boiling, add copper sulfate powder. Okay, students. So and slowly you have to add it. While stirring continuously, continue adding copper sulfate powder. So you have to add more and more copper sulfate powder so that it can't dissolve it. So after some time, allow it free, filter the solution and leave it. Do not disturb the solution. So you will see after some time the crystals of copper sulfate. In this way you will get crystals, students. So that is the thing about whole crystallization. So this is the chapter about physical and chemical changes, students. Hope you have understood well, students. So don't forget to subscribe Sreenath channel, students. Sreenath CBSE channel. So now we will just see overall summary of this present chapter, physical and chemical changes. First thing is physical change, students. So basically properties such as shape, size, color and state of a substance are called physical properties. If the physical properties are changes, we say that there is a physical change. In this physical change, new substance is not formed and the physical change is reversible. Coming to chemical change. In the chemical change, new substances are formed. Example is rusting of iron. So there are some examples we have discussed. So finally, what is our conclusion is that, students, a change in which one or more new substances are formed is called chemical change. In a chemical change, new substances will be formed and heat released, sound released, color changes, smell changes. Next is rusting of iron. So when iron combines with water and air, it will forms iron oxide, which is nothing but rust. In order to avoid it, we will paint some colors on the iron, or we will do the galvanization, depositing a layer of zinc on iron. And next thing is crystallization, students. So if you want to get the crystals, you have to do this activity, and the process of the large crystals of pure substances formed, and the process of for forming the crystals is called crystallization. It comes under physical change. So finally, students, we have discovered all these concepts. Our chapter is completed. Chapter completed. Summary is also completed, students. Hope you have understood, students. So have a nice day. Keep smiling. Bye bye, students.